Okay, so what happens when a brand isn't just a logo, but an entire universe? That's what we're digging into today. We're deconstructing something called JUICE, which is this really fascinating world built from the ground up for the modern collector, the modern hustler. Let's get into it.
And wow, this quote right here, it just sets the stage perfectly, doesn't it? It frames the entire conflict. You've got this old guard, this closed-off system, and then this new generation that's ready to just tear it all down. It's such a powerful statement of what's to come.
So, to really get what JUICE is all about, you first have to understand what it's rebelling against. We need to look at the world it was born into, the kingdom it's aiming to conquer.
So this hobby, as they call it, is painted as this established kingdom, right? It's got its own rules, its own traditions, and a bunch of gatekeepers who control the whole culture, deciding who gets in and who wins. JUICE is basically the playbook for outsiders who want to storm those gates. Okay, so if that's the kingdom they're fighting, what's their weapon? Well, that brings us to the core philosophy, the engine that's powering this whole movement. And you'll see, it's not just about making a quick buck. It's about a complete shift in mindset.
Right at the center of all the JUICE lore is this incredible figure, the Hustlord. You can think of him as like the first hustler. He's the ultimate outsider who learns the system inside and out, but not to join it. No, he masters it so he can conquer it. He isn't asking for a seat at the table. He's there to flip the whole thing over.
And his whole philosophy? It's all laid out in this, the Hustlord Manifesto. This is the brand's central text. It's Bible, really. It completely reframes the market. It's not some friendly hobby, it's a kingdom. And the throne is for the taking, by anyone with the right strategy and the guts to do it.
And this quote, this gets right to the heart of that mindset. It is so proactive, so aggressive. It's not about waiting around to see what's popular. No way. It's about using data to get ahead of the curve and create the next big thing. And that phrase right there, data don't lie, that is absolutely crucial. Remember that one. Okay, so you've got the philosophy, the big idea, but how do you actually do it? How do you put it into practice? Well, that brings us to the system itself, this whole arsenal of strategies they've designed.
They're called hustle hacks, and they're broken down into these 5 main categories. You've got money hacks, mindset hacks, tech, flip hacks, and even recovery for when things go wrong. It's a really complete system covering all the bases.
So let's break a few of these down just to see how they actually work in practice. And we're going to start with one we already mentioned, a core principle from that tech category. Hustle hack number 4, data don't lie. Now, here's what makes this so incredibly powerful. It's about taking all the guesswork out of the equation. This hack is all about using real market analytics to see what's actually happening out there so you can turn all those raw numbers into real profitable insights.
All right, next up, let's pull one from the money category. This is hustle hack number 7, keep liquid. And this one is so smart because it totally challenges that old collector mindset of just, hoarding assets. The idea here is it's not about what you own, it's about what you can do. If you stay cash heavy, you have the power, the flexibility to jump on those sudden opportunities that other people, the ones who are asset heavy, are going to miss. In this universe, liquidity is absolutely power.
And for our last example, let's look at the mindset category. This is hustle hack number 3, patience pays off.
This one really shows the depth of the system. It proves it's not just about fast moves and crunching data, it's about mastering the psychological game. In a market that's just driven by hype and FOMO, this hack is like counter-programming. It's all about having the discipline to just wait for that perfect moment to strike. And that's what separates the real strategists from the impulsive crowd.
Okay, so we've got the philosophy and we've got the system of hacks. But what holds it all together? What makes it stick? Well, it's a narrative, a story.
The story is called The JUICE Chronicles, and it's basically a classic hero's journey, but for the hustle. The acronym itself, JUICE, walks you through the 5 acts. So first, J is JUICE Awakens. You're starting from rock bottom. U is Rise of the Franchise Titan, where you master the hacks. I is JUICE World Order. You expand. C is the Hustler's Legacy. You become a hustlord and teach others. And finally, E is Freestyle Mode, where you achieve total freedom. It's a complete, epic story.
And all of it, brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. And honestly, this might be the most interesting part, the ultimate application of this entire ecosystem.
Because the creators asked this one fascinating question. What if this entire system, the manifesto, all the hacks, that whole narrative journey, what if it wasn't just something you read about? What if it was a world you could actually enter? A game you could play?
And there it is, the final reveal. The whole thing, Juice, is also an interactive fiction experience. It's a text-based game. You start with $100 and you have to make choices using the exact same principles we've been talking about, just to survive and hopefully thrive.
It all runs on something called the JUICE Interactive Fiction Engine. Basically, it's a game built in Python that lets you live out your own hustler's journey. You're making choices, you're managing your inventory, and you're facing the consequences of your actions. The entire ecosystem we just walked through, it becomes playable. So when you put it all together, what you have is this completely integrated universe. You've got this defiant philosophy, which is supported by a strategic system of hacks, which is wrapped up in a narrative journey, which then all culminates in a world you can actually play. Every single piece connects. Nothing is wasted. It's one cohesive whole.
And that really leaves us with one final thought, one big question. In a world where everyone is trying to build a brand online, is this the new blueprint? Is building a complete, cohesive, and interactive universe the best way to create not just a following, but a real, lasting legacy? It's a pretty fascinating question to think about.